Listening to the Songs of Inspiration podcast, bringing you local interviews and performances by singer-songwriters with the goal to give space to the music community and share local artists' messages and stories with the world. I'm your host, Lars Wickland. Hey everyone, we're back for another season of the Songs of Inspiration podcast. I'm here with singer-songwriter Jamie Cain, and thanks for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Lars. It's my pleasure, really. This place is pretty cool. I love this spot.
Yeah. Record company's awesome. So to kick things off, can you tell me a little bit about how you got started with music?
Yeah, sure. Well, as a kid, my father and my mother both played guitar, sang a little bit, just sort of as hobby type of situation. So it's sort of in the background of a lot of my childhood. But I didn't really start getting into it later in life, even though as a kid, I really thought maybe I would do this someday,
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I remember I was pushing them all around. I was probably 14 years old and remember old Casey Kasem in the top 40s on I think it was 108 up around here in Boston. And always listening to that, and then hearing this song. It was a Peter Gabriel song that Jeffrey Gaines covered called In Your Eyes.
Oh, cool.
And it's a great, great cover of it. And I remember listening to it and I just being like, one day I want to, as a teenager, you're kind of like, I'm going to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One day I'm going to do it. But then time just went on and, got married, had a couple kids and sort of lost track of that. And then when I was about 28, I just thought, what am I doing? Let me pick up a guitar and give this a shot. And it wasn't until later in life when I made the decision to try to do it full time, and started writing songs. When I was a kid, I loved poetry as a kid. And then I wrote rap as a kid because rap was, it was kind of my first musical love.
Yeah.
So when I got older, I started writing songs and sort of integrating some, hip hop sort of influence and style into it in some of my songs and putting it all together. It felt like it was, now looking back, it seems like it was something that, was kind of bound to happen, and a lot of my friends are like, yeah, this kind of makes sense, but I didn't see it like that myself.
Yeah.
I didn't really, but when it finally did, in I think it was it's been full-time since 2021, 2022. I made the decision at 18 and then started getting, really full around 2022. And when I was just like, man, I'm so glad I pushed all the chips in and gave it a shot, because I would have, on my deathbed, I would have hated myself for never even trying. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the worst. I think at some point, the fear of never trying just outpaced the fear of failing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, either way, something has to give here. And, so far I've been blessed to have opportunities to be able to play, for a living and write songs, and it's cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's awesome you went for it and that you're playing pretty regularly and stuff. I know we met through the Singers in the Round at, what was the venue?
At, on Lansdowne there. Loretta's Last Call.
Loretta's, yes.
Loretta's Last Call, yeah.
I was blanking on the name.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, that was a great event, and yeah.
I still love doing those too through PB&J. Jay is my producer.
Oh, cool.
He produced my album and I had 3 singles out last year, and he's great to work with, and he puts those things on so that he can find, other people who just are like-minded with that music, and it is literally I love playing them because... Yeah. When you're playing out and you're doing cover shows, and it's amazing. It's fun,
Yeah.
It really, really is fun. But you find more of your level of people and love of music when you go to those things.
Yeah.
People who are getting up there with their guitars, they write songs at all different levels. Those are the people who love music like you love music so much. And that's why I love those. It's the people there, and those events are amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a little community of people, and
100%.
I met a lot of great people. Through it.
And that's actually how I met Jay through that. Amanda Adams. She moved down to New York. I don't know. Do you know Amanda?
No, I don't think I've met her.
So she moved down a little while ago. But yeah, I was doing an open mic, played with her, or at one of her open mics, and then she showed me the songwriter thing, and then she was like, "Do you want to hook up with Jay because he does this sort of thing?" So that's kind of how it happened. You find a network, a community network, sort of that way. And you're just doing what you love, but you end up meeting people, and somebody does this project, and hey, you want to hop on here? It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we've had Jay on the podcast as well. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great
super
dude.
knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's a great guy to work with too. He's in the project, it's your project, and he's not trying to step on any toes, but he throws all those great ideas. If you're not a fan of the idea, there's no ego attached to it. You throw it right in the trash, and he's really great, I think, for an artist to work with, to just throw some ideas out there with all his knowledge, but without being like a little bit, egoic about it. Well, you should probably do, he's like, this is your project, whatever you want.
That's cool. That's a cool way to work.
He's good to work with.
Awesome. Who would you say is your biggest influence as a songwriter and musician?
Biggest influence? I could throw a few names out there probably. It's going to sound a little weird, but when I started out, like I said, with rap, it was the 90s. And to this day, Nas is still one of my favorite artists of all time. So he's in probably my top 5 artists or whatever. John Mayer, Jason Mraz, Ed Sheeran, more recently. And when I was a kid, it was actually a little bit of Garth Brooks, because my father's from Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, well, a little town outside of Tulsa called Perry. And he's about the same age as Garth Brooks. And Garth Brooks is from also Oklahoma.
Oh, cool.
So that was his sort of hometown boy, and he'd always be pumping that when I was a kid. And I kind of, started getting used to it. At first, I complained about it, and then I started liking it. And as I get older, it's sort of a soundtrack to maybe a little bit me and my father's relationship. So, and he's still with us, thank God. But like now, when we get together, I took him to Garth Brooks. What was it, 20? Might have been 19, just before the whole world shut down. We went to a Garth Brooks concert, and it was just all the memories, and it's kind of a cool setup. So his songwriting ability really speaks out to me, because he's really, really an incredible songwriter. And so you kind of, when people ask, what style music I do, it's hard. I think a lot of musicians have a hard time explaining that, but if I were to give you that list of people, it would give you a pretty good idea of what I do.
Yeah.
Not that it's to that level at any point, but those are those influences definitely sort of mash up into my music.
That's cool. Yeah. I can definitely see that, and I definitely, you definitely have a good mix of different styles, like with rapping and all of the different elements you bring into your songs.
Thank you.
And stuff.
I appreciate that, really.
Yeah. Very
Thank
cool. Awesome. What do you think are like 3 key elements that make a good song?
Ooh, that's a good question. 3 key elements that make a good song. I guess I would first question what good would mean. Yeah. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're a pop artist, then good means sellable and recognizable, I guess. For me, I would say the first thing is having a clear emotion and intention that you're trying to relate, something that you felt or feel, and trying to get somebody else to feel the same thing. Because I think personally, music is a way that emotions are supposed to sound, or not supposed to sound, but you're trying to convey emotions through sound. The way you feel about things, or the way someone else feels. That's why all the good songs are about heartbreak or love, or stronger emotions. They're easier to sort of connect to. So for me, the first thing would be have just an emotion tied to it, a clear emotion tied to it. And then, of course, you have to convey that in a way that other people can understand it. Yeah. So I do that a lot through lyrics, because I like writing lyrics more than anything. I'm not the strongest guitarist. I do most of my stuff is singing, songwriting, and then I play guitar to sort of house that. Yeah. So I would say 1 and sort of 1B are those 2 things. 2, I think it's got to be something that people can move to. Yeah. Because that's how you catch people. It's sort of, which either a good melody or a good catchphrase or a hook or anything like that. It's hard to get into people's ears in the first place. And then sometimes you only have 10 seconds to pull them in. You know what I mean? So for a good song, again, depending on what you want to say with good, I'd say you have to have some sort of value there that is going to pull them into your song. And that could be through many different ways, but I would say that's probably, for me, something that I think about when I'm writing. It could be a phrase that I really, man, that's really cool, or something that, I hear or I think about, or even a song idea sometimes. But something that is going to hopefully grab somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And I try to do it through melody a lot. If I get a melody in my head, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of catchy. I try to use it because I'm like, if it's kind of catchy for me, then there's a good chance it might be kind of catchy for other people as well. And then put those emotions into it now, you know. So you got the hook, you got them in, and now you have some content when you get there, so that people really can relate to it, hopefully, and understand it. And then I would say the third thing, I would go with authenticity. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of talented people who are making music that just doesn't seem authentic to them. Mm-hmm. And even though there's so much talent there, I think a lot of people, it misses. It's a swing and a miss a lot of times because people just don't feel like that's really coming from them. It's almost like too commercialized, too thinking about, you know, something that could sell as opposed to just telling a story and something that from their heart, you know?
Yeah. There's always a balance there, I think.
100%. Because you can't just go there and have it, you know, sound, you know, whatever, just throw it together and sound. It has to catch people, but then it has to be real, you know?
Absolutely.
I think you can sell some, I'm sure you could sell some without being real, but all the best artists, you don't think that, you know, Prince or whoever is writing songs that don't actually matter to them. You know? You just feel emotion behind it. Yeah. To an extent, if it's superficial or like not real, it's like people can see through it. Yep. Really quickly, I think. Really quickly, yeah. Even with just their ears sometimes. Then, you know, they might even know who you are, but they'll be like, I don't know, this doesn't feel real, you know? Yeah. So I think that's something that I try to really hold on to when I'm writing. Sometimes, like I said, I'll have a melody or something, and then I'll take it into my soul and be like, what am I feeling when I'm playing this? Yeah. And then and then I'll pull that out as opposed to being like, wow, this song. Now maybe the song is a little poppy, like with next song. You know, I had the idea of it was a little bit more upbeat and poppy, but it was about being cheated on. You know, so it was like somewhere in the middle of pop, but not that upbeat. It was just kind of like I'm, you know. So we found Jay and I found a good little, what I thought was a nice little mid-ground there, where that probably could have had, you know, maybe a love interest sort of idea to it. Yeah. But it was about me. It was coming from something that was really real for me. So I figured I'd rather pull out from something that is really my experience than try to make up a poppy song that just, wow, a lot of people might like it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I always try to keep that in mind. Very cool. Awesome. Do you have any regular like writing routines that you do to kind of spark inspiration? I don't. I kind of, for me, I learned early on that inspiration just sort of happens by grace. Yeah. Like it just hits when it hits, and you could be anywhere, everywhere. I have learned that you got to capture it in that moment. Yeah. And for me, it's got to be video. I've tried writing it down before, even the chords or whatever, the idea. Even if it's just no guitar in hand, I'll press record and I'll just like, you know, spit it out, melody, idea, whatever, and have it there. And then when I'm either trying to sit down and write, or I have a guitar nearby and I'm feeling inspired a little bit, or I remember the song, or I'm playing the song, because usually when I play the melody or whatever, I start to feel that emotion again. Yeah. And then try to get myself back into that, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes you're just like, all right, that moment's passed, and it'll probably come back, but like I think I used to try to sit down and write like 2 or 3 times a week, and it just, for me, doesn't work. Like if I'm not feeling it, or it's, you know, that emotion's not there at the time. Yeah. You know, you're trying to write a happy song when you're depressed. That's probably not going to work. Trying to write a song about, you know, how depressed you are when you're feeling everything and everything's great, that's probably not going to work either. You know, you got to get the wavelengths right, you know? Yeah. I've felt that too. Sometimes like it'll come at like 2 a.m. too, right, or something like sometimes in my dreams. Like I'll wake up with a melody. And this, for Dancing in the Rain, it was literally a song about a dream I had. And I woke up and I had this little thing going in my head. And I was like, oh, man, like, and I think most people sleep with the phone, right? You know, the phone's right next to me. Yeah. And my eyes aren't even open. And I just hit record and I do a little melody in there and then go back to sleep. And, you know, the next day I woke up and the the dream was still in my head, and I remembered the dream. I was like, I might forget this dream because that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And then went out and grabbed my guitar and, spit that. It's a very simplistic song, but spit it out in probably 25 minutes.
That's
And
cool.
then I was like, I put the guitar down and go, sometimes I mess with it too much and I think I make it worse.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I was like, that's it. That's the song. I've got to learn how to play it better. I got to learn how to sing it better, but I'm not really going to mess with the structure of the song. And that's literally, I usually tell that story when I play that song live because otherwise it could be a little bit of a disconnected song visually, or if you're trying to think about it, if you don't realize where it comes from. But yeah, a couple of my melodies came from when I woke up. I mean, every day I wake up, I would say almost every single day I wake up with a song in my head, and it's usually an established song.
Yeah.
You know, I'll wake up and it could be a song I just listened to yesterday. It could be a song I haven't heard in 30 years. You know what I mean? And then sometimes it's a song that doesn't even exist. It's just sort of like my brain is, I don't know, I'm trying to create something in my sleep.
Yeah.
And I'll try to capture that. It didn't happen that often, but once in a while. And that was one of the songs that happened with.
That's cool. It's always cool when a song comes together that quickly, too. It's like a really
I found the ones that
good rush.
that people like the most out of my songs are the ones that came out like that. And the ones that I work on so hard.
Too, yeah.
Like, I'm like, work so hard, you know, year in it, and I'm changing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm like, I think this could be good. And people are like, meh, you know. Meanwhile, the one that comes out in 25 minutes, like, yeah, all right, I'm digging that, you know. You're like, all right, well, I guess we just have to try to figure out how to get more of that lightning in a bottle type of thing.
Like,
you know?
Yeah. The less you overthink it, the better.
Seriously.
Or something.
Sometimes I know I've heard other artists say this. Sometimes I just feel like you just need to get out of the way of the song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if it's coming through you, you just kind of like you're not even writing it. You're letting it happen, and then if you overthink it, you're just gonna sully it. It's just gonna. It's not. You know, you're getting in your own way. I feel like so. I've especially over the last couple of years tried to have my songwriting go that style. When it's coming, let it flow free. Still always try to write, right? Because you never know when it's going to happen, but you try to stay out of the way of it when it's happening.
Definitely. Yeah, that's good advice.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Did you have any mentors as you got started with songwriting and stuff?
Like people local?
Yeah.
Well, I would say Jay's one of them for sure. Yeah. Jay's one of them just because when I first started out, he not only was touring everywhere with, you know, Styx and Collective Soul and like these bands that I you know knew and loved.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I was trying to get on the scene with booking places. Yeah. And I did that mostly myself independently with a little help of Jay's, and he was sort of on the top of the game of all that. He had a lot of places to book to, and he helped me get my start that way.
That's cool.
Actually, the funny thing is, when we first started to book with him, right after I played that with Amanda Adams, it was February 2020, and he texted me up. He said, "Let's get you booked. Let's get you. You know, you want some work?" I said, "Yeah. I really want to get out there. I want to play more. I want to get better." And he booked maybe 35 or 40 shows. Mm-hmm. 10 days later is when COVID happened.
Man.
Everything shut down. I felt picked on, man. I was like, really? 100? You haven't had anything like this for 100 years, and it's got to be the week I start picking up some gigs. But obviously there was a more serious situation going on.
Yeah.
I had to step back, and people were dying, and I was like, obviously not going to sit there and complain about my life. But
yeah.
But yeah, it. You know, having him help me out there is definitely big. And he's been, ever since. He's a busy guy. It's hard to get in the same room with him. I'm in the studio with him tomorrow. We're doing an EP, just a live EP, pretty raw live thing.
Yeah.
And so we're going in. I'm going in tomorrow. I'm to PB&J Studios, and probably not going to finish that up, but put in some good work and have that almost finished. Cool. And yeah, so he's definitely one. Do you know Aldous Collins?
No.
He's a South Shore guy. Same thing. He's got a lot going on. But when I first started out, I reached out to a few artists, and most artists who had big followings didn't really get back to me, which is fine.
Yeah.
But he was one that did. And
cool.
He was like, "Hey, man, if you have any other questions, you're starting out, you let me know." And I've been in contact with him ever since. And he just is always there. He's just a really, really good dude. He also does, One Love is the name of my first album, my first song. And he does a lot of One Love stuff too. So we have similar mantras as far as, kindness, compassion, respect for all human beings type of thing. So
Very cool.
Yeah, he's another great artist too. Check him out.
I'll
he's
definitely
really
look him up.
Trying to put a bill together this summer with the two of us, or with his band maybe.
That's cool.
We'll see. I tried it last year too, but the timing didn't work. So we're going to see. We got some coals in the fire, so to speak.
Nice. Very cool. Do you have any new songs coming out anytime soon?
So on this EP is going to be a few covers, and then a few songs that are just sort of acoustic raw songs, like "Hold On," which we produced. There's a decent production value on it. A next song, there's a decent production value on it. So these are going to be sort of more acoustic style versions of songs. But then there is also a new song that I wrote just maybe last summer.
Oh, cool.
That is going to be on there. Same thing, stripped down, raw, not like comping takes together. It's going to be one take. I'll take a few takes and pick the best one type of thing. But I'm pretty pumped for this song. And there will probably be a studio version of it at some point.
Yeah.
But right now I want to sort of showcase this song in this setting.
That's cool.
So it'll be good. And that song is kind of what we were just talking about. Like, I was just running through this little rotation, this finger picking thing, nice and smooth and slow, and sounded great. I loved the rotation, and I was like, what am I thinking about when I play this? And it brought me back to a memory that was probably 10 years old. Not I was 10 years old, but 10 years from before this point, or that point. And I was with this girl, and I was madly in love with her. And even though it didn't work out, I was sort of in between. I said, am I going to write a love song about her? I'm over it. This isn't like oh man, I wish I had her back. But it was like, this is the moment in time that I was so in love. And I felt that when I was writing it. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to write the song about that moment. It was one of my favorite moments of my life. And even though it didn't work out with her, we had a log cabin-ish type of thing up in Vermont. It was late fall. It was cold outside. We had a fire going. It was a nice setting,
That's cool.
So I wrote the song literally same thing. It was probably 30 minutes, and it just kind of started. It had this poetic vibe to it when I started, and then by the end of it, it kind of fit in really nice with the whole. With everything I had on the guitar, so
very cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for it. It'll be this summer probably that this EP comes out, and I don't even know. We're still kind of forming exactly what it's going to look like, but yeah, that's the newest song that I've coming out, and I wrote a. It's gonna sound corny, but I wrote a Christmas song on Christmas Day.
Nice.
I was like, man, on Christmas Day, all the Christmas stuff was done, and then. Later in the day, I sat down and just had this idea, and it just kind of all spilled out. And it's not a joke Christmas song, but it's a little different than other Christmas songs.
That's cool.
We're going to record that in the fall and, of course, release that in a timely fashion.
Nice. Christmas songs are fun. I have one of those I have to do something with at some point.
Yeah, right.
I just always miss the right timing for it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you got to start it earlier than you think. I bet you.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'll do it in the fall, and then all of a sudden it won't come out until January 2nd next year. I'm like, well, I missed the boat. Should probably get on it early and just have it ready, sitting there, to
Definitely.
release whenever you think it's appropriate.
Yeah. Can you tell us about a story behind one of your songs that about how you wrote one of your songs, and just a little bit about kind of the backstory of it?
Sure. Well, let's go with One Love. I'd say probably let's go with One Love, because One Love sort of started, it's got this hip-hop sort of feel to it. And it started with this phrasing that I liked, that I was sort of writing out, just sort of free-form writing. And let's take it back to the basics. If you're a bigot or a racist, you're going to have to face it. The hate you've learned was copied and pasted. And I was like, man, I really like that. Like I don't have a chord yet for it yet or anything, but I like that. I like that phrasing. I think it fits well. And I picked up the guitar and started just doing this little sort of quicker, upbeat sort of thing to it. And I was like, okay, this fits in well. And I thought I was going to start the whole song like that. And I was like, all right, what? And it wasn't working. And it wasn't working. Yeah. I had it there, and I was like, why is this not working? Do I have the wrong chords? Do I have the wrong... What it was the placement. And then so when I wrote the hook for it, I was like, well, that fits first. And then I took the second portion of that, and I was like, I think I'm going to keep this phrasing for the second verse. And then that first verse came out super quick because I was sort of handcuffing myself trying to work around that phrasing in the first place. And then by the time I finished that first verse, it just flowed into that second verse. So it was cool. Like this is where it was supposed to be. Like we were saying before, I think I was in my head, I was trying to like force that, round peg into a square hole or whatever you say. Yeah. And then when I instead of saying, well, where am I going to put this? I said, well, let's write this verse. Wrote that verse, and then it just fell right into place in the second verse. And then the bridge came out, which was pretty quick and easy as well. And then it's a very. This is the beginning of me sort of songwriting. So the verse and the chorus, they have this sort of repetitive feel for it for a reason because it's supposed to be sing alongable. You're going to understand it. You're going to know where the song's going. You're going to sing along. When I play it live, I try to get people to sing along, and usually they'll sing the hook or whatever. So that's kind of how that one came out, starting with just a simple phrasing that I liked, and thankfully probably was lined up where I was in this sort of creative flow state, and I didn't really realize it until it started happening. But yeah, that was 2019. I wrote that whole album in 2019, and then we recorded and produced it in 2020. But I was playing it out a little bit first before I even put the rest of that album together with Jay, and could immediately see that people will sort of respond to that and sing it. And when I do it, no matter where it is, there people are like, man, I like that song. Like, that's got a good vibe to it. Good. Yeah. So it's been... Hold On, the last song I did, Hold On, actually just eclipsed it, but that had been the most popular song. Not that there's a million streams on it, but like the most popular that I put out for sure.
Nice. Yeah, that song does have a great vibe.
Thank you. I love the flow of it. I love playing. It's one of my favorite songs to play.
Very cool.
I'm probably going to be playing that one a little bit.
Nice. Looking forward to that. What's one piece of advice you'd give to singer-songwriters that are just starting out?
You know what? When I was starting out, so when I made the decision to 100% give it a shot, I was down in Mardi Gras with a few of my friends in 2017, and this is going to be a long way to give the answer, but I hope you don't mind. Do we have time?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm down there with my friends, and we go to see this local legend down there. His name is Washboard Chaz. You ask anybody from New Orleans, they know this guy. He's a local legend. He does the washboard. He sings. He's been doing it for something like 50 years.
Wow.
So we're over on Frenchman Street, which is the quadrant just sort of east of the French Quarter. And that's where a lot of the locals hang out because they don't really want to go to the French Quarter because they're, sick of tourists trashing the place. That's what I was saying. But and we went to go see him, and he's amazing. Every fourth or fifth song, and he's probably in his 70s, if I was guessing. He looked great. He didn't look like he was in his 70s, but he kept saying, I've been doing this for 50 years. And
wow.
And I leaned over to my friends. I said, I was with Christian, Andrew, all my really good friends, and I said, you know what? I would love to do something like that. That'd be great. I would love to do just this. There was only 50 people in the place. It's not like he's world famous. He's not playing to 10,000 people. I'm sure he's not making $1 million, right? But he's just loving it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I really, really, really want to, I would want to do something like that. And the next day we're all talking about sort of nature versus nurture. And I was like, yeah, I think anyone could do anything they want. It's about working hard. Christian was like, well, you just said you'd like to be a musician. Anyone can do whatever they want. Why aren't you doing it? And it kind of like, it hurt my feelings. I was like, because I knew the answers because I was scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say, the first thing is get out there and play. It's going to be scary. I mean, I was so scared when I first started. So scared. And you got to get over that part. And, not over it, but you got to just brave through it.
Yeah.
I would say also something that I actually didn't get directly from Jason Mraz, but I heard a podcast with Jason Mraz, and he is one of my favorites. And he said, just go out and play as often as you can, and don't worry so much about your exposure. A lot of artists nowadays are, worried about where they're going to get their exposure from, who's, they're trying to get clicks and views and trends and things like that. And I've seen some artists who work so hard at that part that when an opportunity does come up, that they're just kind of not ready for it. Their content could have been way better if they focused on content first, or mostly content. So when I started, I remember just thinking, of course you have to pay attention to, exposure and all that type of, try to get views and all that type of thing. But for me, I wanted it to be the bottom of the totem pole, like getting better, playing out as many shows as I possibly can, learning different songs, songwriting, just getting as much of that out that I could. And then, with my leftover time, well, let's do some promos, try to find exposure, try to apply for things or whatever,
Yeah.
But make sure that that's not the main drive, because I want to be as proficient as I possibly can when something like that does come up, So I'd say just play. If you can't get what you think you deserve money-wise, then, do it for less. Just make sure you're getting out there and playing, because you're not going to get better sitting at home waiting for that opportunity,
That's so true. Yeah, going to like open mics and stuff is like even as
Yep. I know a lot
helpful.
of people who now that they're playing, they don't go to, I go to open mics all the time. I just went to one last weekend.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have a show, let me go play. Let me go network. Let me go talk to people. And that oftentimes turns into, because most of these open mics are from venues or, places that are looking to place musicians.
Yeah.
So, even if, just go for the love of it, but a lot of the times it turns into paid gigs for you. So,
yeah. A lot of it's pretty easy to go to one and be able to talk to someone that's booking it.
Yep.
And
literally be like, oh, we're actually doing this other place. It's a paid gig. We'd love to have you there.
Yeah.
There you go. And even if that doesn't happen, you just got to play 3 songs, meet some of the other people, and sit back and have a beer and chill or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a worst case scenario.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. Awesome. It's been really great to talk with you and get your insights. I'm really excited to hear some songs.
Yeah,
so,
thanks for
let's
having me.
dive into the performance. And thank you again.
Oh, let's do it. I appreciate you, Miles, man. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right, my name is Jamie Cain. This is my One Love song. It's off the One Love album. This is about kindness, compassion, respect, and equality for all human beings on this planet. Yeah, I'm about to give it out to lovers. I'm finna give it out to friends. I'll even give it out to strangers, cause one love life, it knows no end. Yeah, I'm about to give it out to lovers. I'm finna give it out to friends. I'll even give it out to strangers, cause one love life, it knows no end. Yeah, I'm coming back with a fact track. Before we get backtrack, one love past that. Don't know what one love is, you can just ask that. Kinda like unity, but put it on a fast track. And then put it on a symbol. Yeah, it's really that simple. What starts out as a ripple and spread through the ocean won't feel so little, because it turned into a wave, see? And if you think that sounds crazy, how can I be so lazy? Hating on peeps never cease to amaze me. I'm always spitting about one love. So if you know what I'm saying of, let's see those hands give a ceiling shove. Push them both up above, show me what we're thinking of. Yeah, I'm about to give it out to lovers. I'm finna give it out to friends. I'll even give it out to strangers, cause one love life, it knows no end. Yeah, I'm about to give it out to lovers. I'm finna give it out to friends. I'll even give it out to strangers, cause one love life, it knows no end. Now, let's take it back to the basics. If you're a bigot or a racist, well, you're gonna have to face it. The hate you've learned was copied and pasted. So, let's take a look at those who taught you. Do you really think you ought to follow a thought that what you keep, what clots you, speech that stops you from including all people? Nah, we're not the same, but we're equal. And if it's church and steeple whose mind is feeble, then quit that evil. So, if you're standing in line, please grab me a vodka soda lime. This jam is everyone's, not mine. If you feel this one rhyme, let me hear you one time. And if you're tired of being alone, if you're tired of being afraid, come on over and join our party. I'll show you the way, yeah. If you're tired of being alone, if you're tired of being astray, all you gotta do is say, I'm about to give it up to lovers. I'm finna give it up to friends. I'll even give it up to strangers, cause one love life, it knows no end. Yeah, so let's give it up to lovers. And let's give it up to friends. And And let's give it up to change, 'cause one love life knows no end. So this is the newest single that I have. Came out later last year. This song is really about being in a relationship with somebody who is having a really hard time, and you're trying to find out where you exist. You want to be supportive. You don't want a crowd. And just sort of that, trying to find that area that works well. It's called Hold On. You weren't the only one to lie. You weren't the only one to run. It was the only place to hide from the beating of the sun. I know you only wanna cry. You know I'll hold you till you're done. I know I keep it all inside. I guess that's only where I'm from. Don't wanna give up on me. Don't wanna give up on you. Don't wanna close my eyes, but I don't wanna see the truth. No, I only saw you shine. I know the sunset isn't fun, but you know it only tracks the time. It doesn't know who you become. Don't wanna give up on me. Don't wanna give up on you. Don't wanna close my eyes, but I don't wanna see the truth. Last night when you came home, you said you felt so alone, but I was there, and you didn't care. You can't pull away from me, feeling so helpless. We are a pair. I know it's not fair. Now we can work out. These feelings get worse now. How can I see if you run from me? We'll do it together. I know we can weather the storm again, 'cause you are my friend. Don't wanna give up on me. Don't wanna give up on you. Don't wanna close my eyes, but I don't wanna see the truth. You're not gonna give up on me. I'm not gonna give up on you. Not gonna close our eyes. Now I can see the truth. I know you only wanna cry. You know I'll hold you till you're done. Yeah, you can find that one also on all the platforms, iTunes, Pandora. There's 100 places out there now. But that's called Hold On. That was my last single there. All right, we got one more? All right. This is the first song off the first album. This song is about, this is one of the earliest things I've wrote. This is about the difference you feel when you're, say, a teenager in your 20s, you're younger. Love is sort of a taken thing. And now I'm in my 40s now, I really see love as a giving type of situation. And and the difference between my younger self and older self. It's called Wasn't Like This. I remember my first kiss. It was midnight on a slide. I kinda wanted more than this. When she asked me, I lied, and I told her this is not my first. Well, yeah, I've had worse. It's a secret between us. I couldn't wait to get to school, to tell him I was cool, and to show I'm bad with trust. But it wasn't like this. No, no, it wasn't like this. No. Well, I remember my first time was tequila and lime, way too much. She led me straight into her room, wasn't sure what to do, so I threw up, and I told her this is not my first. Well, yeah, I've had worse. It's a secret between us. I couldn't wait to get to work, to prove that I'm a jerk and to show I'm bad with trust. But it wasn't like this. No, it wasn't like this. No. Now the love we've shared was enough to grow my soul, and I wouldn't trade all of the love that we have made, 'cause you have helped me become whole. I remember our first kiss. I wasn't sure if I was in love, so it wasn't like this. No, it wasn't like this. No, it was never like this. No, it was never like this. All right, guys. Well, my name is Jamie Cain. You can catch me every Friday night in The Point, in Faneuil Hall. Great spot, good food, good drinks. I play requests from 9 to 1 a.m. JammaCain.com is a website if you want to check that out. JAMMACAIN. That's got all my socials on it. It's got my schedule, landing pages, my calendar. And come check out a show. I appreciate you, Laz, for having me. Thank you very much. This has been a blast.
Thanks for listening to the Songs of Inspiration podcast. Until next time, keep supporting local music, stay safe, and be well. This podcast was produced by True to the Vision Music. For more information on us, check out larswicklund.net.